Hey everybody, so Robbie here. I just wanted to jump on and do a short video on stress. So we are focusing this week on the Bredesen 7 strategy of stress management. And a lot of us get hooked into just thinking about the diet, right? But really the Bredesen 7, they are all important and they all work together. And as most of you know, stress has just been really real the last few years, especially, and we've all been feeling it. I can't tell you how many of my clients share their story with me, and their cognition decline came on when a high level of stress was happening in their lives. And so it plays a huge, huge role. And there's all kinds of different stress. There's the stress we feel from, what's going on right now in Ukraine. We feel that stress, especially if you're watching the news and it's just building and building in your body. Or there's the stress that we feel when we get something physical happens to us. We have a surgery or, just something happens to us like that. We get sick, we get COVID, right? And so there's all kinds of different stressors for the body. And stress doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. I mean, stress can be a good thing when it's short term, right? So when we think about with the protocol, we do fasting. That's a stressor on the body, but that's a good stress, okay? And it's causing stress in our body, but it's not a chronic stress. And that's where the trouble comes in, is when we have this chronic stress going, and we are not made to handle chronic stress. And in the world that we live in right now, I mean, our brains don't know the difference when we're watching all this stuff on TV about wars or, the whole COVID thing. We're under this constant feeling of like we are not safe. And then that sets up that fight or flight, right, mechanism in our body where we want to run or we want to turn around and fight. And so we needed that kind of stuff going on in our bodies when we lived in a day that we had to run away from animals or, somebody coming to take over our village or something like that. But now what happens, we have to commute. So we're in this traffic and we feel that, right? And we feel that adrenaline surge and we feel that blood pressure rising, but we are not running and we're not able to get rid of that stuff. So it's just this chronic, unresolved stress. And that can lead to hypertension. It can lead to heart disease. It can lead to obesity, sleep disorders, cognitive decline. So it's real, and it's something that we need to look at with the protocol. So you need to have that strategy going for stress management. How are you going to manage your stress? Because it's not the stress that kills us, right? It's our reaction to it. So you need some tools to be able to handle that. And we're all different. And some people really feel stuck with their stress. They're like, I know that the war going on right now in Ukraine is way over there, but my body is feeling it. Like I literally feel it. Or we try to handle the stress and we just can't. And for many of us, that's because our response to stress may be wired from a really early age. And so there's a test called the ACE test. And it's a test that you take to see how much trauma you had as a child. And they have found that people that have high ACE scores tend to have premature brain aging, higher inflammation biomarkers, increased risk for dementia or Alzheimer's. So that's a real deal. So that's something to look over. If you can find the test online, you can take it, you can talk to your doctor about it. But for many of us that have had traumatic childhoods, and really how many of us get away with being a kid and not having some kind of trauma. And for some of us, we don't handle it well. And so having that information And knowing that can be really helpful. And it's another tool to think, okay, I need to learn to rewire my brain, help it to settle down. And that's where things like mindfulness, right? That's the simple practice of being fully present in the current moment. How many of you are fully present in the current moment? I mean, again, the world that we live in, right? Emails, texts, um, instant gratification, Facebook. I mean, all of this stuff, it's so hard to be fully present. So when we are fully present, when we're consciously aware of ourselves and the world around us, we're not looking back, right? We're not replaying negative thoughts in our heads. We're not worrying about the future. We're simply being. And so part of that is just learning to be aware of what's going on in your head. And a lot of times we think we have no control over that, and we really do. So learning to be present. And I'll be honest with you, when I first started my health coaching journey, part of my training was mindfulness practice every day. I had to do it every day. And I remember seeing that and thinking, what? Why do I have to do this? That's a bunch of hokey pokey. I don't want to do that. Well, thank goodness, the school that I went to, Chris Kresser's ADAPT program, they not only taught us how to do mindfulness, but they taught us the science. And when I learned like what it was doing to my brain and how my brain actually works, that was a game changer for me. And to be honest with you, mindfulness, doing that and learning it, and I'm not kidding when I say this, it literally changed my life, because I was one of those people where I would ruminate about things, or I would find my mind going up into worry, thinking about tomorrow rather than today, or thinking about what I didn't do yesterday, or all of these things. And so learning to be mindful and to be aware of what my brain was doing and thinking, and to bring it back, was life-changing for me. And a big part of that is breath work and learning to focus on the breath. And so I would highly recommend that for any of you looking for anything. I really like the Calm app. It's easy. They have a daily calm that you get every day. They have other longer mindfulness practices on there. So that's a really good thing to do. And there are other things to do. And so that's one thing that I do with my clients, is I help them find what works for them, because there's so many things that you can do. There's even the DNRS, a dynamic neural retraining program, which is helpful for a lot of my type 3 toxic clients. A lot of times when you have like mold toxins, it can send your body into just this stress response. It's almost like your body knows there's something going on, and you're in this constant state of, I don't feel safe. The same thing happens with PTSD or having traumatic issues when you're younger, is that you don't feel safe, and things can trigger it really easy. And the DNRS, Annie Hopper is the one who started this for herself. She started it for herself, and now it's used by a lot of doctors. Dr. Neil Nathan uses it with a lot of his clients, and it's actually a retraining of our brains. So that's something that a lot of my clients use. You can look her up, Annie Hopper. She has a book called Wired for Healing, or you can look her website up. And so there's lots of other things that you can do. I mean, yoga is another one. The bottom line is to find out what works for you, and then bring on those stress management habits, right? Even things like multitasking. We think if you multitask, you're doing more, when really studies have shown that we just don't multitask, and it just causes us stress. And again, that's being in the present moment. If you're trying to do too many things at once, you're not in that present moment. So there's lots of things that you can do for stress. And my main thing is to remind you that stress management is part of this protocol, and to remember all of the Bredesen 7 strategies, okay? And stress is so, so big. I work with a lot of clients, and I am telling you, when we start talking about what's going on, and they're just like, well, I feel like my cognition is just getting worse. And the more we talk, and we find out they've had a stressful week. And so they really need to take the time and to learn to get those habits going for that mindfulness practice, or for that yoga, or for just taking a walk in nature. Again, it's just finding out what works for you. So I just want you all to be aware and to think about it and to start implementing some things. And so anyway, I hope that is helpful. And just to remind you that if you want to work one-on-one with me, I am available for that. And if you want like group coaching, that's starting up in April. And we will be looking at stress management as a group. And we will take the first month and we will look at nutrition and the Keto Flex 12-3. And then we will start bringing in each of these strategies, because again, it's not just one, it's all of them working together. So we'll spend a whole session on stress management. And it's great when you work with others, because people have time to share. They share what they're doing. They make goals for the week, and then we come back, we check in, and then you have that accountability. Because a lot of times people think, stress, it's just part of life. Well, it's something that you got to take serious, and you need to address it. So there you go, guys. So I hope this was helpful. And if you have any questions about stress, feel free to just put it in the comments below under this video, and I'll try to answer those for you. And if I don't have the answers, I will find it for you. And there's so many people on here that are so knowledgeable. And I just appreciate all of you that share your knowledge and your wisdom. So, all right, guys, I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.